Hello, I'm Pastor Catherine Bowers from Evansburg United Methodist Church, and welcome today as we celebrate Palm Sunday. Today we remember the story of when Jesus went to Jerusalem and the people welcomed him and greeted him with cheers and by waving their palms. Now, I'm old enough to remember the days when if you went to a concert and you wanted to show your appreciation, you would hold up a lighter. Everybody seemed to have one. And now I guess they hold up cell phones. In those days, you waved your palms. Now, probably you couldn't get to church today to get a palm, but I'm going to invite you to wave something and to participate in this story today. So it can be a leaf, a branch, anything. It could be a piece of cloth. I brought with me a green scarf that I have. That's going to be my palm today. And when I tell you to wave it, I'm going to ask you to wave it. And the word will be Hosanna when you hear that. Hosanna. Then it's time to wave your palm. So I'm asking you to participate in the story today. Now, let me tell you how I feel about worship. Worship is not a spectator sport. Worship is something we participate in and that we bring ourselves to. If you're just watching someone else worship, that's pretty boring. The blessing comes when we do it. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Suppose I said that there's this fabulous restaurant and they have a wonderful steak dinner, and let me take you there. And you might be excited. You might really enjoy that steak dinner. But what if I said, there's this fabulous restaurant and they have a wonderful steak dinner, and let's go there and watch someone eat it? No, that doesn't work. So I want to invite you to participate today, okay? Have you got something to wave? Could be a piece of paper, anything. So that when the time comes, I'll let you know. Now, this week, I learned something about the word quarantine that I didn't know before. It actually comes from the word 40 in Italian, and it refers to the 40 days of Lent, 40 days of sacrifice and of purification in preparation for Easter. Now, we know in ancient times, people dealt with pandemics. They suffered through plagues and all kinds of terrible diseases, and they figured out that things could be contagious and that it might be good to isolate the sick people or the well people to prevent the disease from spreading. They came to call that a quarantine. They would do it for 40 days. Why 40 days? They had no medical or scientific information for that. They just found out that it was pretty effective. I was interested to learn even Venetian authorities at one time in the 1400s forced ships to stay offshore near outlying islands for 40 days before they could dock so that they could ensure that the sailors wouldn't bring some kind of disease onto shore. So they had some understanding of what was needed. So that was the word quarantine. Now, we don't know how long we are going to have to wait. It might be more than 40 days to get coronavirus under control. But we will do whatever it takes to protect life. I encourage you to be patient, and we'll do whatever it takes. I want to ask for your prayers today, especially for people who feel isolated and disconnected. It can be very difficult for people when their social supports are not in place. So I want to ask you to pray for people. I want to also ask you to pray for people for whom home may not be a safe place. And we know that when there's stress, domestic violence, child abuse increases. And I don't hear anyone talking about this. I'm concerned. I hope that people who need help will reach out for it. And if they need to go somewhere else, that they will reach out for help. Please pray for those people as well. Now, today's story comes from Matthew chapter 21, verses 1 to 11. And this is the story about the day Jesus went to Jerusalem and was welcomed by many, many people. Have you ever been in a crowd that's really excited? That's a lot of fun. My daughter told me a story about being in an excited crowd. It was just after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and she and her friend decided to go down to Center City and wait for the parade to see the players in their bus. And so they went early to get a good spot. They got a good spot on the sidewalk. They waited and waited and waited. The parade was really slow. It was a cold, cold day. And so they were stamping their feet. They were trying to keep warm. Everybody was saying, "Why is it taking them so long?" And my daughter noticed an older man standing near them. He seemed to be really cold. And she said to him, "Are you okay?" And he said, "I'm great. I've been waiting for this my whole life." And she said she could even see like tears in his eyes. It was so wonderful for him that his team won the Super Bowl. That kind of excitement was what people had and more the day Jesus came to Jerusalem. Some people might have wondered whether he would come at all because he had enemies there, and they were dangerous and powerful people who had threatened him publicly already. And maybe they thought to themselves, he won't come here. It will be too dangerous. But he did. Word gets around that he's coming, and the crowds come out. He's coming to us, and that was so exciting for them. I heard about a presidential candidate, and I won't say who it is because that doesn't matter. He did really well in one area of a city, a low-income area, in the primary. And people wondered about that. It was unexpected. Why did he do so well in this place? And so reporters went to the neighborhood and they asked people about it. Why did so many people vote for this candidate? And they said, well, he opened an office in our neighborhood and he has staff there. And they talk to us about what we care about. And no other candidate for president has ever done that, they said. And it meant a lot to them. It meant a lot to people in Jerusalem that he was coming to them. He's coming to us. And he didn't sneak in a back gate. He came in a very public way. It took a lot of courage to do that. He came and they were cheering for him. And they got palm branches, we're told. And they waved them, "Are you ready, Hosanna?" And they threw their coats down in front of them. And waving and cheering, "Hosanna." Now that word has a specific meaning in those days. It doesn't just mean that they like him. Hosanna means that they want him to be in charge, that they want him to take the throne of David. They are saying Jesus rules. Hosanna. He's the one. He's the one we've been waiting for. And we want him to rule. We want him to take charge. They're saying we want a new administration. We want regime change. Kick the old bums out. Put this one in charge because we know we can trust him. We know that he really loves us. And they are right about Jesus. He is the one that we can really trust. He is the one who has our best interest at heart. If you agree with the crowds on that day, say Hosanna. What the people don't understand, in all their excitement, is that the mission ahead is the cross. They want victory, but they don't know the cost. The difference between Jesus and other powerful people is that he is willing to do whatever it takes out of his love for us. And they don't get it. But he lets them celebrate anyway. And we don't get it. But we get to celebrate anyway. How wonderful it is to put our trust in Jesus. How wonderful it is to know that we have a leader who can be trusted anywhere and anytime. He came to us, and he came for us. And that's the good news for today. Stay tuned for the rest of the story.